So, just to roll back the tape a bit, a few months, as you suggested earlier, Musk began as quite supportive of Ukraine, arguably critically supportive. You write
Totally
that in
critical.
the first week of the war, he was holding meetings every day with his own Starlink engineers to discuss how to support Ukraine. You have a quote, unlike every other company and even parts of the US military, Starlink, were able to find ways to defeat Russian jamming. You note that Starlink kits were connecting the Ukrainian military to our Joint Special Operations Command, our most secret operatives in the country. It was Gwen Shotwell, the CEO of SpaceX, who was nervous about the extent of involvement more than Musk in that early phase. So my question is, what happened? What changed him from being all in to being very nervous and suddenly geofencing all these areas when he'd been such a supporter? I don't get it.
I talked to him during this whole thing, and there was late one night. He said, "Why am I in this war?" Said, created Starlink so people could chill and watch Netflix movies and play video games. I did not mean to create something that might cause a nuclear war. And then I just asked him, and it was a question, but I think he, took it as maybe prodding. I said, "Have you talked to Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor? Have you talked to General Mark Milley of the Joint Chiefs?" And he had. He had been talking to them, and he said, if they tell me to do something, I would do it if I got a directive. But what he did, which I think is the right outcome, is he decided to sell and give total control over a certain amount of Starlink equipment, Starlink services to the US military so that he no longer controls the geofencing. He no longer controls the terms of use. And he's even created something called Starshield, which is a military version, yeah, of the Starlink satellite. And so I think that was his way of saying, I got to get out of this. Even I don't believe I should have this much power. Of course, that leads to a larger question, too, which is why couldn't any other US company, why couldn't the military have built satellites that work? But now they're buying these Starlink satellites. And I think that kind of resolves the situation. I mean, you and I at least would prefer to have the US government be in charge of making that decision as opposed to Elon Musk, a private citizen.